Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we have Jimmy Drake from Old Soul Tattoo. Jimmy has grown in the last 10 years from a single room that was a couple hundred square feet and just himself to a studio that now is over 3,000 square feet with 7 artists. We talked to him about what it took for him to get there, his outlook on life, how you should treat clients, your staff, and a good work-life balance. So enjoy. So today I have Jimmy from Old Soul. He is the owner of the shop here in Wenatchee, Washington. So, Jimmy,
What's up, man?
good to see you
You too?
again.
Right?
Yeah, man. So I know we already recorded this, and we're gonna redo the entire thing. So that's my bad. So I kind of wanted to start with how you got into tattooing, when you knew you were gonna be a tattoo artist, and kind of the journey, man.
Right. The origin story.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, my background is an airbrush artist and pinstriper and custom painter. So I didn't, I knew I was gonna be getting it. I knew I was gonna be heavily tattooed at 8 years old. I didn't know I was gonna be a tattooer. I started, my first business at 25. Pinstriping, painting, custom paintwork. And I was just hanging out at the tattoo shop. I think I was 27. I went to the New York Tattoo Convention in 2005, and that's why the light bulb came off. And I knew then that fuck pinstriping, fuck haircut. I wanted a tattoo. And literally the plane ride home, I asked my buddy who owned the shop, Tattoo Evolution in Everett, and I was like, Tom, man, teach me how to tattoo. Let me join. And so I cut my business in half, an apprentice under him. And that's where it began. And I worked there for a while and kind of just in a roundabout way, just came into tattooing full time eventually. And of course moved to Wenatchee in 2010, opened the shop in 2012. Really, from my apprentice shop, where I was at to this shop is the only two shops I've ever known. And so I haven't really guest artist. So it's just kind of, figuring it out along the way.
Well, it seems like you've done a pretty good job of that. I mean, in 10 years ago, I remember the, single chair by yourself, small place to this, you got, what is it, 7 artists?
7 artists, a permanent cosmetic artist.
That's kind of nuts.
Doing events. And so yeah, it has come a long way.
Yeah. And it's been cool to watch. I've been in Wenatchee for 15 years now. And in that time, every single tattoo shop has, they've either disappeared or they're at the exact same place they were when I moved here. Yours is the only one that has grown, especially to the size that it is. It seems like a lot of that is from you instilling, not only a good work ethic, but a really great community of people around you that are extremely nice.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, it's my thing is just being genuine, being true to yourself and to people, putting the work in, being honest with them, and obviously having results too, and so just that alone is really a simple formula that you just keep at it, and then it just kind of evolves, and then it's just a matter of taking advantage of opportunity when it orises, or recognizing it, just having this space. I went from 1,000 square, under 1,000 square feet to over 3,000 square feet, just by having that awareness that that shop, that place is open, maybe we should get it. So that weeding through different experiences, and knowing what you don't like, and and then some of it's just getting lucky and getting good people, and so I've been blessed both ways that way.
Yeah, it seems like you have a really good crew. Everybody's always been super friendly and some like really good people.
Yeah.
A lot of shops I talk to have the exact opposite problem where they can't find good people, or they have an apprentice and then they leave as soon as they're done, or it's an artist that doesn't show up to work, something like that. So I mean, when we look at the group that you've put together, it's a great group. Where did you find these people?
Yeah, no, they found me. No, I had my eye on some people, but really people do come. It's the old Field of Dreams. I kind of always, one of my favorite sports movies. You build it and they will come. You put together a good formula, a good work ethic, a good reputation, and people come. And whether it's the clients that I tattooed that showed interest and stuck around and kept bugging me, or I had my eye out, and on a few other people that worked in town. It is logistics too. We're not in a big city. We're kind of a smaller market, so it's kind of a niche industry. It's a smaller town, so we don't really have. We're kind of stuck in between. We're 3 hours from Seattle and 3 hours from Spokane. We're right in the middle, and and all the bigger cities, Tri-Cities, we're kind of like this little hidden little gem that we can kind of wrap our arms around, and that was one thing when I moved here. The potential was really awesome to really establish and put it on the map, and then and just kind of put the flag down and claim it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only tattoo shop I can think of that's been around as long as yours is Flacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome, and they're the classic, classic street shop right on the Ave, and they're just turning and they're great at what they do, and we have a good respect for them. But it's just a different, and you need that. You need that variety. You're gonna have, my shop's not for everyone, and his shop, so you need that, and any town is gonna have those, and that's fine. I always focus on what I'm doing, not what everybody else is doing now. That helped too.
Definitely. That is a good philosophy. It seems like sometimes artists get into it with each other when a new shop pops up.
Oh, it's easy, yeah, and but really at the end of the day, it's out of your control. Your control is yourself and your work and your reputation and your space, and yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of moving to Wenatchee, what brought you here? Because I mean, if you do think about it, it is a smaller town. I mean, it's growing obviously a bunch since we moved here. I think, what did you say, you've been here 10 years?
Yeah, I moved here in 2010. I opened the shop 2 years later. It took me a few years of going back and forth, working kind of crazy, and to establish, a home base. So, yeah, it's just, I'm sorry. Squirrel.
Choosing Wenatchee to move to and open a shop.
Yeah. So, really, this family. My grandparents lived here, and my mom lived here, and they were advancing in age. I needed a change. I needed out of the rat race, and I knew I wanted to open a shop. I just didn't want to do it in my hometowns, or my mentor's backyard.
Yeah.
That was always a big thing. People opening shops like right next door to you after you teach them right. So I didn't want to do that. And I wanted out. I wanted a just a different pace of life. I'm tired of the rain.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you just got the snow and the heat.
Yeah. Deal with that.
Yeah. When you decided to open your shop at the beginning, like what was that like? Did you already have a client base built up?
Just through social media, I started, just slowly gathering people. No, I just put my head down for it. I just grinded for 6 months, and before that, I was booking on a weekly basis. I was booked out a couple weeks to, now it's a few months or more, consistently. And now I just book 3 months at a time anyway, just to keep things in life and perspective and stuff. So that just makes it easier for me to do that.
When did you decide to start bringing on other artists?
Um, Really, it was just, my first apprentice, was just to kind of, it was the same thing. It was tattooing, and a buddy's like, hey, my girlfriend really loves art. She wants to be a tattooer. And so that's where it began. And so I brought her on, taught her. We worked together for a while, and that worked out good. So after that, it was just, a guy moved into town, was a tattooer, and I hired him, and that was a learning experience because everybody's personality is different, and it was just a more of a difficult one, and it was a good lesson for me. And so eventually I kind of parlayed that and brought on another person that wasn't having a good time at where he worked. I brought him in, so I brought two more people in. So then it was the four of us, and then of course that first apprentice, she left and opened her shop, and so then it just kind of evolved, and then it was back to three of us again. And then the pandemic happened, and we knew we needed more people because we were just, all three of us were pretty well strung out, and all we could handle was all the work, all the new people coming in, and all our original clients. And so we were going to bring on an apprentice, and we ended up bringing on two people at the last minute. Two people that were highly qualified, but came from different backgrounds that could bring something to the table, and see how they do. And then lo and behold, a few years later, or a year later, some really experienced, talented people came knocking on the door, and they just fit right in. And so, some of it's, just happenstance, some of it's luck, and some of it's just, I don't know. It's probably that putting out in the universe what you are, what you want to be, or what your goals are, and having that return back to you, and that's been fortunate for that.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's weird that some
that manifestation.
Yeah, it definitely works. It definitely I 100% believe. Yeah. So when did you decide to? So your old shop is,
Just across the hall.
Yeah. When did you decide to come into here? Because I know that was a big from the last.
No, this used to be a martial arts studio, and we called them the Little Ninjas. We'd be tattooing, and we hear all these little kids karate chopping it. It was a riot, and it was fun. But once, due to their reasons, they moved out, and when the space became open, and I had a good relationship with the owner. And in fact, me and Miguel were having beers after work one day, and he's like, "Why don't we take that place?" So really, it was just kind of that spark. I was like, "Yeah," and then once I was like, "Yeah, why don't we?" And I had in the back of my mind, was thinking about maybe opening another location or expanding somehow, because obviously I couldn't do it where I was at because of square footage restrictions, right? And so this just kind of was able to, well, I don't have to do that now because I have a big enough space. This space eventually, hopefully we can do, conferences and, because and because we have this space and have conferences, have events, have tattoo events, and so that's been a really neat to be able to do that all under one roof.
That is cool, and I love the decorations. It's definitely a lot put into that.
Yeah, when you travel the world and to travel to conventions and you have friends that are amazing and virtual mentors and people in our industry are so talented, and the art is just amazing. And so collecting that art, it just to help inspire, where we want to go, where we want to be, and, inspire us to paint more and to create more, and so that's the ultimate goal. And so it's just a part of that. It's just creating that space,
Yeah, it definitely makes, I would say, the atmosphere feel more welcoming than a lot of tattoo shops I've been in. I mean, it's, like you said, it inspires creativity. It's bright. It's different than most studios.
Yeah. Well, that's probably another thing because I don't know a whole lot of studios, so I don't know. I have my friends and where I've gotten tattooed, but I don't think that's been too much of an influence. It's just been kind of things I liked and things I've collected over the years and the stories behind them, or I collect art from people I look up to and admire, or just friends' shops and stuff like that. So that's where it's mostly come from, but really it's just I've always had a sense of design. I've always loved it, and decoration is a part of it. And having not only tattoo art but fine art, photography art, just kind of all mixed together, just to kind of show that it's all relative.
Yeah. So one of the things that seems like has helped you a lot is you have a great personality and people like you.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I do. I've never heard anything bad about you, and that says a lot. How much do you think that's played into, growing?
Sure. I think tattooers can kind of get this rap of being aloof and being crazy, or being, there's, whether you're high or on drugs, or you're late, you're not prepared, you're, all those things, right? And sure, I've done all those at one point, but I think it's just being real, and it is being prepared, being, it's just having that genuine, I care, you learn all those lessons of being an artist and what to do, what not to do. And I've done all those things, but you learn from it. I think being optimistic, being, it just keeps your mind open, and it keeps you loose. I call it juggling chaos and stuff. But if you fight it, from what I've seen, and I've had mentors and people that are on the other side of that, they're a little more pessimistic, a little more aggravated, and it just makes for such a harder path. Not only with your clients, with your own personal mental health. I think it's huge, and so, and if you want your dream client or your ideal clients to come to you and keep coming back, and it is having that good relationship and a place where, because when they come here, it's like therapy for them. It's, and you don't want to go to a therapist that's a fucking asshole or that's mean or difficult, unless you're, masochistic or something, or into that thing. But there's shops for those. So I think for the most part, we're a small town or a smaller town, hometown, a country feel, that it's just that down home feeling it. And that's just about being, looking at the person in the eye and telling them what's up, or walking them through, finding out. It's just, having communication and being on the same page. And then I think that's been real helpful. And I'd rather go that route than the other route.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this last time with the recording I destroyed accidentally. But it was very different when we were young, getting tattoos. Like yours was a biker, mine was an old cholo, and it was not a welcoming experience. And that's definitely still the taboo that studios have, is people that don't know the industry very well, or that are going to get their first tattoo, or even going to a new shop, can be a scary experience. So having somebody that friends have told them is a good person, like good shop, nice people, makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah, experiences. It's huge. It's huge. People are going to go, even if it's they'll get a shitty tattoo for someone they like, and they'll keep getting it just because they like them, and it's funny, it just kind of blows me away, but that's true. So why, if someone's doing, if they have a bad experience, they don't think a person is, whether they're friendly or are into what they want to do or are on the same page, and, even if it's one person, their likelihood they're going to go somewhere else. And so that experience is huge, I think, too. And people really feel welcome and feel safe and feel like they've been listened to, or or they're gonna come back.
I think a good way to gauge if you're a friendly studio is if you get multiple repeat customers, because I mean, most people don't just get one tattoo and then they're done,
No, yeah. It starts with kind of getting their feet wet. They'll kind of do something small just to kind of test the waters and see how it went. And then they'll come, could come back. It's also can be an addictive thing. People can kind of get in on a run and just, you'll see them and they'll just keep coming and they'll scatter around and they'll hit this artist and that artist and then they'll bounce and then you don't see them for 6 months or a year, and then all of a sudden, they come back. I've had clients come back after 5 or 6 or 7, and hey, let's touch this up and go over this and do some new stuff. So it comes in waves, but there's always that next wave. I think, just staying consistent and and now with technology, being able to do online booking, it saved me from going back and forth on the emailing and the consultation. Now that I'm 18 years in, we do the consultations, designs, and tattoo all at once. I have, for the most part, and other bigger projects than I, of course we prepare a lot more for, but for the most part, I kind of put stuff together and kind of design everything together at once. And I've enjoyed that process. It's different, it's new, but I'm so kind of efficient at what I've done now and what I can do, whether it's one shot, tattoos or bigger projects. At least you can get something started, and it is just finding a process. Let's start here, let's build this, and start with the lines, let's keep growing, and get a plan, to that. So that's helped.
Definitely. Kind of switching gears to the business side of opening a studio. What was it like? Because I know that's a lot what people aren't ready for, don't expect, or it's different, is the business side. Because, anybody that jumps into entrepreneurship or starting their own company, it's like getting hit by a ton of bricks.
Yeah. It's a lot, but I had an independent perspective, working from 19 till 25 with a guy, pinstriping, and I would drive around a little truck and I'd write out invoices and I'd call, okay, we're next. And then at the end of the day, I'd take the van home, and it was a sweet gig, and then at 25, I opened my own business doing the same thing. It only expanded more into, brushing, pinstriping, painted, custom airbrush painting motorcycles. And so that kind of gave me a good framework. And so then when I got into tattooing, I just kind of grabbed that formula and put it right into tattooing. And really it's just sales and expenses, and so I would do my own taxes, do my own things. And, it does get tricky, but we're kind of in that weird zone as tattooers, especially early on in those days. As long as you paid your quarterlies and then you did right and you paid something, you weren't on the radar. You're not. Now it's a different story.
Yeah.
We definitely have to own it. And one of our artists is now our shop manager, and she has a break on her rent to take over duties, and we have a monthly accountant that comes in and checks and makes sure we're on the straight and we're on the right path, and then I make sure every quarter everybody's chipping in, and then it's just being on the same page and doing right and keeping those things in line. So if they come knocking and whether it's the health department, the tax department, or any department, here we go, we're good. So it's just finding that structure, and yeah, we've had our lessons and we're learning, but we're creating that structure now to be able to take that on, and be more, because when you're doing events and you're tattooing 60 people in a day, and and you got all these artists, you got to have your shit together.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the biggest, I guess, surprise or hardship when you started to, bring on employees, starting to have to do payroll, starting to have to.
Yeah, and it's always kind of evolving and growing, and that's part of the keeping an open mind and keep growing and learning. It's a learning process, and we're still learning. And I don't think if you're not trying to improve your communication skills, your scheduling skills, your marketing skills, your online presence, and if you're not adapting and using the tools that are going to help you grow and that are out there, because the whole idea is to make this as easy as possible, not difficult. I don't want to, overdo it, but just I want to be able to put in the systems in place where it can kind of help run itself, so I can do artwork and I can create and I can paint and I can, I don't want to be accounting all the damn time. So, we use the Square, we use the things that are integral that listen to each other, and so it's just print, add, all right, quarterlies, that, pay your quarterlies, pay your taxes, and so I just make sure he's doing that. So I think it's just keeping an open mind and keep growing, keep learning, keep tweaking it. I mean, every year for the last 18, I've been adjusting my schedule and tweaking it and experimenting with it and trying to come up with something that keep me from fucking going bald, going white, So yeah, I think it's a constant thing. You're always, I'm always going to be learning, try to be better. And that's by, there's people out there. You just got to reach out and learn from them and just take what's working and what's not working. And if it's not working, find some way to make it work, right? So it's problem solving. Yeah, that's a huge part of the business. Any business is, you got to be a good problem solver. You got to be adaptive. You got to, and just put the systems in place and then you can focus back on art, doing what you love. If I'm going to be sitting behind a fucking doing numbers and stuff,
Yeah.
I could put someone else in charge of that. Yeah. Apprentices are for, right? No, I don't know.
You have a pretty good work-life balance. You travel a lot. You get married here pretty soon. I know, especially when you start a business, you normally have to work a ton, and some people will either burn themselves out. Some people will never find that work-life balance again. Like I said, it seems like you have a good one. But you made the priority.
No, absolutely. Well, in my early 30s, I started traveling, went to Europe and shit. And then in my early 40s, I went to China for a few months. And once you kind of get that world flavor in your system, you realize how important it is. As hard as you work, you gotta take that time for yourself mentally. I do find it important. Yeah, there's, I love tattooing, don't get me wrong, and then I have a passion for it, but it only goes so far. I know there's people that and if I put all my eggs in that passion basket and work from sun up to sun down, and there's people that just grind and they're uber successful and they're, but I don't know. Now that I've gotten older, I enjoy the family times. I enjoy meeting out with friends and having dinners or going out for the weekends and, or traveling. And so I adjusted my schedule to my partner's schedule. And so when she gets off work, I'm right behind her. She has the weekends off, I'm right behind her. If she's off for the weekend and she's off doing something, I'll come into work and, or if I'm doing, I have a lot of different things planned. I'll grind in between and work as hard as I can in between and just to get that time in. But yeah, I've really, and I've encouraged my people to be that way. I think it's the biggest thing is I'm not going to hold a grudge against them for going to pick up their kid at school or their kid sick or going on vacation or that's important. And so I do not want this place to be a burden for that or like, oh, why aren't you here? We got some people that could walk in. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, we're in that luxury business where people come and they'll track us down and we'll find time. Well, whether we got to come in more early or late or bounce it around, it's, the schedule's so flexible. So you make it work. And so but that's huge. Is I believe, at least for my own personal mental health, is to be able to, take that time away and, have that family time and have that vacation time.
Yeah, I think that that makes for a happy workplace.
Yeah,
for sure. And you're relaxed.
at the end of the day, it's, for me, I value experience, and whether it's my experience at work, my experience with my coworkers and my fellow artists, and my soon-to-be wife, and my 3 dogs and 3 cats. I mean, my grandparents that are, my grandma's still around, and you only get so much time with them. And my parents, their health ain't so great, but it's just being present, and then just being in the moment, plan for things, put things out there. I even, try to talk my clients and, teach them, the importance of traveling and how to do it. There's actually ways where you can kind of, and so it's just fun to have that relationship with all these people. And for me, the experiences of all those things combined are what makes for a good life, and, good work balance, work life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. The first time I left the country was to go to Thailand and spend 2 weeks there, and that was like changed my world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The perspective is we get so trapped in our day to day, driving from A to B, the Walmart down the street, the Safeway down the street, shopping mall. And then you go to Thailand and they don't have any of that. Or you go to Europe and everything's so condensed, and everything's so precise, and you got your baker and you got your this, and you have so much rich history, or you have so much just that third world, or just that natural living, and everyone's, whether it's barefoot floors or what, people are happy if people are happy. And so you don't need all these things to make happy. What you need is, community, good times, and, and a good outlook and a good attitude towards life. And then that'll make you happy, I think,
Yeah. I agree. That was probably some of my biggest takeaways from traveling are, we in the U.S. prioritize so much like stuff and material objects as like happiness, and it doesn't make you happy. Like those people have nothing, and they're seem like pretty happy people.
Yeah. And, and we're just, you can't help where you're born or where you're at. And, and I would like to think that if I was born in that situation, that I would make the best of it, and be just as happy, doing what they're doing as what I'm doing now, and that's, I think, the world perspective, that there's a whole another world going on there that's completely different from yours, but just as awesome as yours, so I think that perspective is pretty cool, and you don't really get to experience that until you go out there, so no, that's important.
Yeah. It's weird because, again, I love that I was born here. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't really, hear third world country stuff like that. But like I think it was Joe Rogan said it best. Like, poor people in America that are dirt broke are still like morbidly obese. Like, you go to other countries, people that are poor, like, you see their ribs. Like, it's very, very different.
Yeah. I think it's sad, and you could do a whole new podcast on that, right?
Yeah.
And it is I don't know. It's tough, man. It is tough when you see that the path that society is going down, and and you can get in the weeds on it, but at the end of the day, man, you have to live your life and try to set the best example you can. Not only take care of yourself, and then the rest of you. It's that field of dreams thing, right? And even if it's in our own bubble, and it's like, so it's like, build yourself with the best you can, and then what will happen around you, your outlook, your viewpoint, your reach, or your relationships, and the people you put yourself around will shape that, or will be a reflection of that, right? And so the more, positive, growing, learning, trajectory, for me, that's just what works and what makes sense. I don't want to be worrying about what other people are doing. I don't want to worry about what other people are thinking. I don't want to, fall into, I don't want to hold grudges. I don't want to, have resentments. You don't want to do any, that's just, that path is just, self-destructive, it's just like any, addictions, or, whether they're good or bad, and then, we've all had our taste or share and experiences, whether it's people we love or people, our own selves, right? And so I think just holding that, that positive energy and keeping that PMA, that positive mental attitude is huge. And it's just reaching out, finding those influences and just keep growing. Obviously I can't learn enough in this lifetime, the things that I'd want to learn, especially in art, in life, in relationships. But we're only given this little blink, a drop. We got to make the best of it. And you don't know when your number's called, we all know that. And so it's just, let's put it out there, put your nose down, heart, be genuine as you can be, and talk, man. Don't be too hard on yourselves. You're gonna fuck up. Things aren't gonna go your way. You're not gonna make everyone happy, but you're gonna make most of them, or you're gonna do the best you can, and that's all you can do. So
Yeah. There's a guy I follow, Ed Milet, and one of his sayings is my absolute favorite. He's like, what if when you die, the first person you meet is the person you could have been if you had done the best that you could in, life, relationships, everything like that. Also, yeah.
that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have gotten those. It's so crazy to think that just as a simple choice, a simple path, a simple yes or no, or getting up to experience something could completely change your path in life. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one too, because you don't want to live in the regret of, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. But at the same time, you want to be open to win those things and to be able to take advantage of those situations. That's crazy, but that's fucking life, man. Sometimes you're gonna open that door, and sometimes you're not gonna want to open that door. And if you could have opened that door, maybe you'd be a fucking millionaire, or you'd be this or that. Or you would have met this or that, or if you would have talked to her, you would have done this. But it's not how it worked out, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta live in it, you gotta work it, you gotta own it, and just don't be too hard on yourself, right? And just, I think at the end of the day, just do your best and get through it. And at the end of the day, and we meet that guy, maybe it's the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you could have been a lot worse, and you did all right. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's a balancing act. There's a happy medium in between risk taking and I guess being safe, and that's, not just with business, but life, relationships.
But you got to do both when you can. You can't go in one or the other, right? You have to take some risk. You have to bet on yourself sometimes. You have to, try new things. Otherwise, you're just gonna be stuck. You're gonna keep spinning, and you're not gonna grow. You're gonna stay where you're at. So you gotta take chances, for sure.
Yeah, I know people, I'm sure you know people, I'm sure everybody knows people that they always want to do, like, they have this good idea, or I hate my job, or I want to do something else, but they just stay there because it's comfortable and they don't want to take the risk.
Yeah, I know. I've been the biggest dreamer. I dreaming about fucking things, and putting them together. It's a lot easier to dream than to do sometimes. And I'm not, and I've had my fair share of not falling through, or not, I've had plenty of things where, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I'd get halfway, I just start and then I'd just fail and I'd crash and I'd fall into a hole and hide, But, yeah, and that's why you got to, and that's what's neat about having a support, having a team, having a family, a work family that can kind of help you where you're not good at, I can come up with some great ideas. I need help putting them through. I need structure just like anyone else. I don't have the discipline I wish I could have, but that I'm just not naturally there. I've been trying. I'll continue to try to get there, but to have the people that have those things that can help you and help the traits that whether you're lacking that can kind of pick up and just to make a complete thing. It does take a tribe. That's why I said, having a tribe of mentors or, virtual mentors, there's so much information out there. There's so many killer people out there. There's so many people willing to teach or to tell you their story, and reach out to that, listen to those things, listen to that podcast, read that book, it's out there. You just got to get it, and the more information, the more you grow, the more you learn. I think the more you can put in your toolbox and keep in your repertoire, pass on, and you can keep that going and build. And pretty soon then you can see what the fuck you built.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, all of a sudden 10, 20 years later, you're like, holy shit, I did that. Fuck, cool.
Yeah, it's definitely different than when, again, we were young and like if you want to learn something, you'd go to the library, you'd open the thing, find the card, go find the book. Now, like anything you want to learn is
fingertip.
Right there.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It's awesome. And really it's, it comes out, everything's a tool to be used to grow. Instagram's a tool, Facebook's a tool, anything that makes their lives, their tools, you just can't make them turn you into a tool, right? Or you just got to use it. I don't know. It's just having that healthy balance. Really, it's using those things to get to the end goal. What's your end goal? Because the end goal is just to have things go as easy as possible or simple, or as, I don't know what the word is. It's just to be the best you can.
Kill.
And have people around you be their best. And that's only by setting an example for that, right? And so I just want to, set the example, put in the work, and just let it speak for itself. And, at the end of the day, I'm not sitting back, just kicking back, watching money come in. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
No. You gotta put in the work. You gotta set the tone, set the example. And then, and when you need help, ask for help. This winter was rough, man. I fell into a hole and I just like, I need help, I went out and got it and I'm getting it. And you rely on your friends and your people to get you through it. You just got to be able to just be okay with that, things don't need to be fucking smooth all the fucking time, so, but that trajectory is, I always want to go up, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go down no more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how we all want it to happen is like this, but really it's like,
yeah. But as long as it's like, remember fucking that Price is Right?
Yeah.
The mountain.
The yodeler dog. Yeah.
You get the, I just, that's my life, man. Just, might not get up there fast, but eventually I'll get there.
And man, that's the long game is how people succeed with what they want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people that jump into something for 3 months and then they either aren't successful at it or, they don't make enough money or blah, blah, blah. And then they hop to the next thing, hoping for the same thing where if they had just done that for the last 2 years, they'd be at least, starting to get a good base for what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, and so I started tattooing at 27 years old. I'm now 45. I'll be 46 in May. And I started, I got a Roth IRA and I started, I think, putting into a retirement at around 38, 39. And then I kept putting money in and putting money in. And then around the pandemic, I looked at that money and it's just, I'm like, what's my growth rate on this, right? And they're like, it's 0.00, because they reduced the rates or so. I don't know. So I pulled all my money out of that and I just put it in it. I was like, if I'm going to, I only got 20 years left, right, of investing. I'm going to own it. I'm going to do my core beliefs and I'm going to put it in stocks at it. And if I fuck up, I fuck up. If I don't, it's on me. I'm going to own this. And so I turned it into a Robinhood account. I started, instead of every month buying, I just buy stocks every month. And that's hopefully it's kind of a crapshoot, but hell, it's better than nothing, it's part of the risk, right? There's so much growth and innovation and the world's changing in such different ways. If I could just kind of put a pulse on that, or at least pay attention to what's going on, if I could score out. And so that's, that's kind of my shot in the dark, my last shot. I wish I would have done it when I was younger, but I didn't. Roths are great, I think, when you're 20 or 30 years old, because the trajectory really jumps after, 40 years or 30 years, right? But fuck, I only got, and so yeah, so I'm going to do that. I mean, that's kind of and if I keep building this to where, maybe that helps sustain. I got a tattoo from an old timer in Amsterdam. And he was like in his late 60s, and he's been tattooing since the fucking 40s. And this dude, Bill Loika, just electric, man. And it, just, fuck yeah. He was smoking a joint, and we fucking got me tattooed. If I could be tattooing a couple days a week in my 60s, fucking, let's rock, And so, I don't know. I'll never stop working or doing something or creating something. But yeah, you could definitely make it easier on yourself if you plan ahead. Shit, man, I wish I would have done it earlier, Yeah. But when you're self-employed at 25, 20, you're just spending money as fast as you're making it, and you're blowing it. It's like, fuck, what do I do? So now it's like, real estate, stocks, anything you can do to help yourself, because when you're self-employed, that's all you got is yourself, unless you're, I gotta get a little sugar mama or something.
Sometimes that sounds like a good idea.
I'll do both.
Right? But that's another cool thing about growing the studio is, I mean, that's, as to your worth. If eventually you decide to retire or want to sell it, or it's just,
hand the keys over, work a payment situation out, where they can buy you out or buy your stuff, or I don't know. We'll cross that road when it gets there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, at the end of the day, even if I had to start over from scratch tomorrow, I would just do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I put my head down. I go to a new town and I just work. I'd find something to do.
Yeah. And there's definitely no easy button, but again, just consistency.
But you're right. It's a consistent, and that's your, your work ethic, your balance, your ethos, right? And that's what's the beauty of tattooing is I could retire in Bali and fucking tattoo a bunch of tourists every bunch of kids. I'll be in my 60s and, and flip flops and a fucking, and a tank top.
Sounds like
tattoo a bunch of fucking kids, on vacation. My arm.
I know, right? That sounds pretty good. And I mean, while there is no easy button, it's definitely like once you've learned about business, like again, if my business shut down tomorrow, I could do the exact same thing with a different industry or something like that, because you know what to do. So you definitely get better. Still hard, but you just get so much more knowledge.
I've been self-employed since I was 25, and I'm for 20 years. That's all I know. I've been fortunate. I never had to fill out a resume. I never had to go through an interview process. I've never had to do any of those things. That's kind of wild, I'm very fortunate, very grateful. That's, not a lot of people do that, it's just it's a wild, I wouldn't have it any other way though. I love what I do. I love the position I'm in. I'm so so grateful, and I get humbled. How can you just open up your fucking Instagram and you're humbled real quick? And so that's fine. That's what they're doing. I'm doing all right too. So
Yeah. No, you're definitely doing all right.
yeah.
I've had you for almost an hour. I
Okay.
got one more quick question. Any advice for studio owners looking to grow?
Fuck, man. Just keep positive. Stay as positive as you can. And stay as open minded as you can, and let the people that know what they're doing do what they do. And and if you're the artistic mind, and just keep with the art, find someone else to help you with, and put the system in place so you can follow it. And just and just go for it. Just go for it, and reach out to the people, and find answers. There's answers out there, and so it's just have that good work ethic, and show up and get there early, and treat the more you can just focus on your clients, and treat them, and just one client at a time. 6 months turns into, next thing you know, you'll be, your work, and you're gonna have that work come in consistently. And that's what we all want, is to have work constantly, as much as you can do for 2 months at a time, 3 months at a time. Some people book out for years, but I ain't doing that. So, and just stay positive.
Well, I appreciate the time, man. As always, that was great.
Cool.
Thank you, Jimmy.